Paul George leaves the Clippers. We just don't know where to yet. There appears to be a battle brewing between the Lakers and the Clippers for Klay Thompson. And USC gets a much-needed recruiting win. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. And look, I get it. It is super early on July 1st, 2024. We are in the sanctum sanctorum of LA sports, but I'm getting this clip out immediately because I've got to take a red eye to get to work in the Midwest. There are a lot of gears that are clicking and whirring in NBA free agency. Things could change at any moment. I wanted to get you caught up to speed. And that's one of the great things about being in LA. So if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It lets you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Slum Francisco 10, Dodgers 4. Look, the Dodgers had won the last 5 series up in Slum Francisco. The streak had to end sometime, right? James Paxton got absolutely blasted. He allowed 9 runs in his start. Meanwhile, Orlando 3, Angel City FC 0. Ladies, I don't want to talk crap about you, but you're 11th in the league. Time to level up. Meanwhile, today, there aren't any games involving LA teams. If you know a Clipper fan, maybe it's time to give them a hug. And yes, we're going to start with the Clippers because the first hint about Paul George leaving, in retrospect, was when news broke that James Harden was going to stay with the Clippers. Now, before we go into news about that deal, know this. At that time, Paul George was allegedly still in play. And what do I mean by allegedly? What the hell else are we to deduce when a team so far over the salary cap drops a 2-year, $70 million contract? A couple of hours later, of course, the other shoe dropped. You can't just drop $35 million a year and not have tremors going through your salary cap. You can't keep Kawhi Leonard, Harden, and George and not remain significantly above that evil second apron. Maybe it's more than evil. Maybe it's diabolical. But I digress. Look, simply put, George would have had to have sacrificed to stay in LA. And he didn't want to. The Clippers wanted George to take the same deal that Leonard agreed to. 3 years, $152 million. George wanted 4 years, $221 million. How are you going to make up that $70 or $69 million difference, right? If you're a Clippers fan, you have to wonder now. Look back to 2019, when the Clippers sent at least 5 draft picks, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and a couple of pick swaps to Oklahoma City. Was it worth it? I'm just asking. I'm not trying to clown. I'm just saying, was it worth it? Because the Clippers have just admitted to a sunk cost. It's literally like buying 3 houses right before the Great Recession hit. Sunk cost. Because now you have to ask yourself, how good are the Clippers, even with James Harden? Who plays small forward? Amir Coffey? Norman Powell? And by the way, regarding Harden, the second year of Harden's contract is a player option. So if the Clippers are trash, he could split. Now, the Belcher report is claiming that Philadelphia is the front runner for George. They could sign him at any minute. So take a moment and compare the two teams. Not that we know what Paul George is thinking. Here's what he gets if he heads to Philly. He's a small forward. He has Joel Embiid at center. That's an upgrade over Ivica Zubac. Tyrese Maxey is the guard. And by the way, would you be surprised to learn that Maxey averages 9 more points per game than James Harden? Harden was not as terrific for the Clippers as you might think. He averaged only 16.6 points per game. That's not elite. Maxey, by the way, is a restricted free agent, but nobody believes he's on the way out, so I get that. Then the Sixers. Consider for a moment Philadelphia's situation. They gained tons of cap space by letting James Harden go in the first place. Now, there were rumors about what the Sixers would do, because we mentioned point guard, we mentioned George if he goes as a small forward, and Joel Embiid. That would leave shooting guard and power forward. And I can't tell you which way they could go. There were rumors about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the former Laker, but Caldwell-Pope went to Orlando, which, by the way, is in the running for, wait for it, Paul George. Now, I don't know about the rest of Orlando's roster, but there could be any number of options going on for him right now. The Clippers simply aren't one of them. And that brings us to Klay Thompson. The relationship between he and the Warriors appears to have fractured beyond repair. There is also the distinct possibility that of 4 NBA teams in hot pursuit of Thompson, and that includes both LA teams. We mentioned yesterday about the possibility of LeBron James taking a pay cut so that the Lakers could upgrade. So my first question is, how much of an upgrade is Klay Thompson? I'm just asking. I'm not saying I know. They've needed shooters. That's one thing Thompson definitely is. And since the Clippers have lost George, if you're a Clipper fan, is Thompson enough of a consolation prize? Again, just asking. Now, as for the other teams, the third team is apparently Dallas. CBSSports.com handicapped the race between those three. We've been talking at length about how hard the salary cap has become in the NBA. How there's a so-called first and second apron, the latter being extremely burdensome when it comes to player transactions. Now, the Lakers reportedly have no desire to even come close to the second apron. The first apron is apparently their own personal salary cap. They still have options, provided that they don't reach the second apron. Signing and trading for Klay Thompson comes to mind, so the Warriors at least get something. The Lakers have 4 players with very tradable contracts in between $10 million to $20 million per year. If the Clippers had retained George, by the way, they would have been totally out of the running for Thompson. That would have never happened. Now, well, both LA teams would make a decent fit for the former Splash brother. He could literally slide in between the 2 stars on the Lakers. He could slide in between the 2 stars on the Clippers and just be a sharpshooter for either team. The problem with Thompson, though, is he's definitely showing his age. There isn't a whole lot of tread left on them tires. And oh, by the way, he can't play defense now. Dallas, by the way, would mark a complete change in offense for Thompson in that the Mavs offense runs completely through Luka Doncic. So that would be a culture shock. And by the way, that fourth team, remember I was mentioning earlier about the extra cap space that Philly has when they got rid of James Harden? Guess who they could go for? You got it, Klay Thompson. Also with the Lakers, Max Christie has removed himself from the free agent market rather quickly. He's going to stay with the Lakers 4 years, $32 million. This is according to ESPN. USC football got a much-needed win in the recruiting struggle. The struggle is real with the Trojans. And they got a W on Sunday. They landed 4-star wide receiver Corey Sims, who lives out in St. Louis. He's going to come west, allegedly. He is the 33rd ranked wide receiver in the class of 2025, according to 24/7 Sports. Look, this is kind of low-hanging fruit for the Trojans. Let's just be honest. The one thing you can count on with USC is that Lincoln Riley knows how to make an offense hum. If you want to put yourself in a position to go to the NFL and you are a skilled player, you definitely are thinking hard about USC. The process of building a defense, we've spoken at length about it, it's simply going to take more work. Recruits are going to have to buy into this new coaching staff, despite the fact that the coordinator came from UCLA, which was amazing on defense last year. USA Today's Bob Nightingale, and I don't know him well enough to trust him, claims that the Dodgers were one of 15 teams to offer a package for Chicago White Sox ace Garrett Crochet, and the Sox said no. That is if this story is true. Because here's my problem with it. We don't know what the Dodgers offered, which means, did they offer anything? Did they just call and say, hey, can we talk about Crochet? And the White Sox said no. We don't know. Everybody calls everybody about every player pretty much. We don't know. So Bob Nightingale, it's pretty easy for him to write a story when he doesn't have any details. Don't you think? The following, I have to tell you, sounds a little premature, but NFL.com's Chad Reuter believes rookie Jared Verse will be an absolute monster for the Rams. He listed 14 rookies who could make an impact, and Verse led the list. Quote, Verse and Braden Fisk will be another dynamic duo, bolstering a team effort in replacing future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald. Verse will overpower and out-hustle tacklers on the outside and post at least 7 sacks, while Fisk should benefit from the single block situations inside thanks to his workmanlike effort in run support and on third down, unquote. Also with the Rams, sort of, Kelly Stafford still hasn't learned how to take an L gracefully and to stop airing her family business. But at least she's no longer airing family business as much as she's airing personal grievances. Yes, this was only a matter of time. She has cloaked herself with the victimization robe, and she's getting a mani-pedi in the toxic masculinity day spa. Yes, she is blaming men for clowning her because she exposed how she manipulated her husband. Manipulate your husband? Totally fair play. Getting called out for manipulating your husband? Oh, that's too far. That is a bridge too far, Kobe. Quote, this is what she wrote. Realizing how many insecure men there are out there. So grateful I married the complete opposite, unquote. Lady, you should be grateful he did not dump your ass for exposing what went on in the Rams locker room the year before. This is not a story about male insecurity. I don't know if you slept with the backup quarterback in Georgia. I don't care. So I'm going to have to repeat some of this stuff until the lesson sinks in. I am happily married. The only thing that you guys know about my wife is that she's very pretty and models sometimes. But you don't know what she looks like because I don't post a bunch of photos of her online or never posted a photo of her here. You don't even know her name. You don't know if we fight. You damn sure don't know what I did to get her phone number, let alone court her or marry her. And there is a reason for that. That is not male insecurity. That is being respectful of her and our private lives. You should try that, Kelly. You should try it. The Kings have tendered qualifying offers to 4 players on Sunday, including Quinton Byfield, Jordan Spence, Arthur Kaliev, and Eric Portillo. To be clear, tendering a qualifying offer is not an actual signed contract. It simply means that the Kings want to retain the rights of restricted free agents. And some of their restricted free agents they obviously love. They love Byfield. Spence is an NHL regular. Now, there are claims that the Kings want to trade Kaliev, but he has to be under your control in order to trade him. There are 3 free agents from the Kings who did not get qualifying offers. The one that stands out the most is 4th-line center Blake Lizotte. The other 2 primarily play for the minor league affiliate of the Kings out in Ontario. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. How freaked out are you if you're a Clippers fan about Paul George? Who do you handicap as the leader in the race for Klay Thompson? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quien Corte El Queso production. Take care.